Welcome to ExampleInstruments02Oscillators. In this example, we will look at the different options you have for the oscillator in the instrument section. So I've prepared a bit of a boilerplate code here to get started quicker. But before we get into this, let's have a quick look at the oscillator, where it actually is located in the instrument. So this is an entire instrument in Wellen library, and I've talked about this in the prior example here, but just as a quick recap. So we have this oscillator here in the center. Its amplitude is controlled by the ADSR envelope and can also be controlled by the low frequency oscillators, which is subject of a later example really. And then after the sound has been produced, it can run through a low pass filter. These three are turned off by default. So we are now looking today at the oscillator, the VCO. So the way you do this is quite straightforward. Again, like we are, I'm starting with a default sketch, which allows me to play random notes when I press the mouse. And now we want to change the oscillator. To be more specific, actually the oscillator wave shape. So there are 3, 4, 5, 4.5 different oscillators available in the tone library oscillator. So in the instrument. So again, like if we want to change something specific about instrument, we need to call tone.instrument, which selects the current instrument. If we don't touch it, by default it's instrument 0, so the first instrument. And we can now change the oscillator type, actually the wave shape, to be more specific really. Oscillator type. And we have to specify a specific shape with this. There are some constants defined in the Wellen class. So again, 5 different ones. We will look into each one of them in a minute. So with the set oscillator type, Wellen dot and then the oscillator you want, you can actually change the shape of the sound. So when we now play it, you hear the sound characteristics have changed quite a lot compared to the sine wave, which by the way is the default wave shape. So much smoother. And if we want to have like a really harsh sound, we can, for example, select the square, which is going to be really loud and noisy. Okay, so this is a way in which we can select different sound characteristics through different wave shapes. What might also be like interesting is you can actually, this is like a I don't know, not a hack so much, but there's like a way to actually visualize the sound like in an oscilloscope. So when we go draw buffer, and we can actually, we draw it in the full screen, and then the buffer we select is actually the one, the normal mono buffer. So with this, and maybe also specify a stroke color first. So if we now run this, we can actually see, oh, let me change the oscillator. This is really hard for the ears. So I go back to the default, the sine. And if we call this method here in the draw loop, we can actually see the shape. It draws the current audio buffer that is actually sent to the audio hardware. Now you can see the shape of the waveform quite nicely. And if we now change it, for example, to triangle, we get in the oscilloscope, in quotation marks, we get like this triangle shaped. In the example, you actually I actually used the key pressed function to allow the manipulation of the oscillators while the program is running. So the sawtooth, and then the annoying square. And then the fifth one, that's actually, it's not really noise, it is just a piece of memory filled with noise, but if you play it at specific frequencies, you can really hear that it's repeating. So it's a noisy signal, but it's not like true white noise as a noise generator. So the higher pitch the note actually is, the less, truly noisy it actually sounds. So just as a kind of a word of warning here. That's pretty much it for the selecting different wave shapes for an oscillator.